Alrighty, friends, we are back. It's your favorite podcast of the week. It's Location Weekly. It's episode number 698. We are recording on December the 4th. Yes, it is now December. It's getting a little bit colder up here in Toronto. Still really haven't seen snow yet, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll be here eventually, maybe for Christmas. We'll see. But how are you, Brianna?
I'm good. It is getting colder here in New York as well. My kids went to sleep with a spoon under their pillow and pajamas inside out. Apparently, that's how bring on the snow. Did not work, but it's
Okay.
entertaining nonetheless. I'm not ready for snow quite yet. I got stuff to do. But yes, it is like gearing up for the holidays. It's time of holiday parties and last minute things rush for the end of the year. So it's fun. It's a fun season. It is busy, but we're
Yeah.
here.
Exactly. So anyhow, we've got four stories we want to walk you through. A little bit of holiday theme in there, and one of them for sure. But I'll let you kick us off.
All right, let's start with location sharing. This is a new feature that Instagram is launching, their live location sharing. So now users who have, they're in a private DM or like a message or a group chat, any of these one-on-one or group settings, you can actually share your live location for up to an hour, or you can even pin a spot on the map. And this can help with obviously coordinating arrival times or activities, finding each other in a crowded space. So you think about, I'm going to a concert or, a festival, or we're going to go check out all the amazing touristy Christmas things in New York City. How do I find them? So this has to be turned on manually. So don't freak out. Like you have to go in and turn this on. It's off by default. And then location sharing can be turned off and stopped at any time. And it's being rolled out alongside of some other features. They're all considered like ways to connect via DMs. And not all countries, but select countries, I'm sure it will be rolled out eventually to all the countries. But they're rolling out some custom nicknames and some sticker packs, all the things we get really excited about. But
Yeah.
this is like, this is an answer, right? This is an answer to what's happening in the location world. It makes me think about Glimpse. We've had friends over there for a long time. They've been doing this forever. I think that this in this context makes sense, but I think that there's like so many other features and functionality you get from other location sharing services like Glimpse and others. And I think it's like, Instagram's kind of got to keep up with like the Snapchats and all the other, ways that people are sharing and connecting and communicating these days. So a positive feature, nothing groundbreaking, but there you go.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I think it's as you said, it's kind of needed right now to keep up with everything else out there, and I think this adds a lot of value. I will say as an old guy, I'm increasingly using Instagram and, finding good value from it. So I won't say that I use it, a lot from a DM perspective or for definitely not for group chatting. But I do like follow a lot of people and I like content on there and I sometimes will share content on there and things like that. So, but I get it that, young people in particular are using this and messaging each other and sharing location, I think adds a ton to that. I would say like in my demographic, just speaking from a personal point of view, like we have a lot of group chats going within WhatsApp. Uh,
Mm.
and there's no location sharing in that. So maybe that's something that they need to think about too, to keep up with everyone else here. But
Well, it's all the same company anyways, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, can't we have this
yeah.
across all the platforms? That would be good.
Well,
Uh,
and like from a consumer standpoint, you and I, I'm checking my DMs on Instagram, but like if you're expecting me to share something in real time, it's happening like 2 days later. Okay.
yeah,
So I will not
yeah,
see that for a while.
yeah, exactly. So, but anyhow, I think it adds value to the platform, and I think it's good in obviously the demographic that is using it for constant communication and group chats. So.
Do you think that people would use this for like LinkedIn to say, oh, I'm at this conference or I'm here? Or
Absolutely. I would. For sure
I
I would.
think that people would use
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the platform I'm on
Take
most.
note.
I mean, yes, LinkedIn. Let's get on it. Yeah, okay, moving on. So let's shift over now to the UK, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite brands, which is Cadbury, just because I love their chocolate. I grew up on their chocolate. But maybe that's because I'm in Canada and it's the British, thing. But anyhow, they have a campaign that they've been doing for a number of years around Christmas and the holidays. Um, and they've kind of signed up to do this sort of big out of home campaign. It's called the Secret Santa Postal Service. And this is just one piece of a wider holiday advertising campaign that they have going on. So all called Cadvent. So like Advent, but Cadbury, Cadvent, and the Secret Santa Postal Service. So essentially what's happening here is they're working with a couple of big out-of-home players in iVision and AdShell, who have screens all over the place. And essentially, what you do as a consumer is, on these screens, there's, a character named Jeff, who's the Cadbury postman, and he's gesturing in these in these ads to a QR code below him from his post room. And then the postal service, when you scan this thing, it basically comes up with a landing page where you can enter an address for a friend or family member or loved one or whoever that you want to give a gift to. And essentially then it, facilitates, this delivery of, a chocolate bar or those kinds of things, to a loved one, all initiated through this out-of-home campaign and connected to the mobile device by scanning a QR code that brings you to a landing page. So that's sort of one part of it. And I really like that. I like that sort of, you're in a physical space, you scan a QR code, you're entering some information, you're sending, a gift to somebody, that's Cadbury, related. So I like all of that. And then there's sort of another layer to this where they've got, bus shelters and other, sort of physical out of home where you can scan QR codes on those as well, which then, has this augmented reality version of this. And on and on and on it goes with a number of other layers to this. And so there's some social elements, there's the out of home piece, but this Cadvent season that they've created, is something that they've been doing for a number of years. And so I just really like how they've kind of tied it all together. I like this idea of, sending something to somebody physically in the mail or through the postal service, which is great. And just to add one thing to that, up here in Canada right now, I don't know if you've heard down there yet, Brianna, but our postal service, which is run by the federal government, it has been on strike for the last number of weeks. So it's causing a lot of problems. A lot of retailers are trying to ship things, and there's nobody to deliver it. It's not happening. And they're still on strike, and there doesn't seem to be a resolution to this in place at the moment. So there's a lot going on up here. U.S. Postal Service has stopped accepting mail to Canada. So yeah, maybe nobody's getting Christmas cards this year, but in the UK, you might get a piece of chocolate.
Well, it sounds like Canada's got some stuff to figure out for Christmas, and I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Um, for the record, I think Cadvent is great. I'm just upset that it's not available here in the US. And I think this is a fabulous campaign, super creative. I think it's great to be able to use this as a way to drive up some of your digital sales. I think it's amazing, very thoughtful, and like just easy, right? I think it's really cute. And for the record, my favorite Cadbury is the mini eggs for, Easter. Like you got to have those. I don't like the big ones, so the little ones are really, really great. And then the fruit and nut bar, hands down, great.
Yeah, I'm partial to nuts, so I like their, like their ones with their hazelnuts and their, different, combinations that they have with nuts. Less so the fruit and nut, just the nuts is good. Yeah.
I agree. All right. Moving on back to a big company here, Google and their Lens. This is fun. I'm actually like kind of excited about this, but I'm very curious, are there ways to use this competitively? So what this is that now users who anybody who uses Google, right, can take a picture of an item and receive insights about the store they're in, like are there other similar items in stock, like price checks, all those things. According to a survey of about 1,000 consumers, over 7 in 10 Americans use their smartphones while browsing in stores. I do this sometimes. Sometimes I take a picture and see if I can get a price check, and find something similar. This is true. I feel like I fit into that 7 in 10. But now Google Lens is offering in-person shoppers search results tailored specifically to, where you are physically. An example that they gave was like, hey, I'm shopping for this kid's toy or like a Play-Doh set as a potential gift. And so then it would give me like instant reviews, price comparisons. My question is it price comparisons within that store? I don't know. And then you can scroll down and see related items. It's only giving you information on products that are currently available in the store, not that are available through the retailer's e-commerce platform, which is excluded from this. So that's kind of interesting to me. My questions are, how could I use this to find and price check outside of that store? I'm sure retailers would not be thrilled about that. But also, like, why are you excluding the e-commerce opportunity? Like if it's not in stock, why can't I also look at that? I have questions. Tech details on this story. It's powered by Google's Gemini generative AI model. So that's like kind of what's happening. Everybody's using it the way that they already use their phone. So I like that there's not a learning curve. It's not like you're trying to change customer behavior. People are already using their phones while they're out shopping. But yeah, I think this is, it's available for beauty products, toys, electronics, and then they're trying to expand it to other categories in the future. So I think this is a great feature. I want to be able to use it competitively, help me save money. Everything's so expensive right now, like we can't ship toys to Canada. Come on, like help us out here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love this. I think this is brilliant. We talked recently about, challengers coming into the search space, against Google, other search engines and other ways to find products. We talked about one recently, just the other week. So I think like, looking for ways to, generate search results physically when you're in a retail environment within and surfacing results within that store, I think is brilliant, right? I think it's it helps, physical retail, it helps drive, sales within that store. I what I didn't see in this story is like, what's the ad model here? Like, how are they making money from this, right? Because obviously you have AdWords and things like that, in normal Google search, but is there a way that you can promote as a retailer certain products to show up higher in what is displayed, when you're inside the store, or, other products you want to promote,
Or are
that
you
are
getting
maybe
insights?
yeah, or you're getting insights because like I like it says they're surfacing reviews and things like that. But is there like an AdWords model like for inside the store? And in particular, when I see things like this, I think about big box stores like Walmart or Walgreens or mass merch, right? Where you have all sorts of different CPG brands, who have products in those stores who might be competing with each other, right? So if I'm in Walmart and I'm, searching, in the um, toothpaste, aisle, like, am I getting, ads for Crest over Colgate? I don't know, like, things like that, right? How is that monetization piece and the advertising played out in this? What is the retailer paying? I guess is what I want to know. So I think it's super interesting. I think it's really smart. It differentiates them by going physically into the store with this type of capability from other search engines out there that I've seen so far. And I really like it.
All right.
Okay. Final story now. We're going to switch over and talk about Amazon, but maybe not in the way that we always talk about Amazon. So this time we're going to talk about their Amazon location service. So they've released 17 new and enhanced APIs. Actually, I think 10 of them are updated APIs, seven are brand new that didn't exist before. And so you might know that, it's been a few years now that Amazon's started to offer location services. And so things for, route optimization, things for, helping developers build applications on top of their platform, around places data, mapping data, route data, um, and everything in between. So what they've added is you can now access advanced route optimization. You can get toll cost calculation data. You can get GPS trace snapping, and a whole bunch of other different map styling, sort of rendering options that are available. You can also now perform proximity-based search and predictive suggestions. So I assume they're using, some sort of generative AI to do that. So there's a lot going on here, and I think it's very interesting. So obviously, I have a startup as well, and our dev team does use some of Amazon's location services. We also use Amazon, for our hosting on our data side as well. So there's I think a lot here for the developer community if you're using location services. The other thing I should mention about them, I was talking with a longtime friend of ours, by the way, yesterday, Hervé from Here Technologies, said to say hi to you as well, Abriana. Um,
Hi.
and yeah, so we were talking about, the Overture Maps Foundation and the whole open source mapping initiative. Amazon, with their location services, is also a big part of that community. So a lot of what we're seeing now from the mapping world is taking the base level mapping information, the POI data, and making that open source and available through things like Overture to everybody from a developer point of view. And then, really focusing on adding higher level services, where they can make money, right? Be it, information, that kind of enriches the POI data, be it, this type of stuff where we're talking about API calls to, pull, tile set information or different map rendering type of services or things like that. So there's a lot happening here. And I think it's becoming something that, when they first launched it, I was like, yeah, there's not really a lot there. But the more I see them continue to evolve this, they're investing in this, and they're really adding a lot to it. I think it's incredibly valuable and useful, to the developer community.
Yeah, I mean, in reading this story, it's like very technical, right? It's all the different, I would say, like APIs that you can, and the keys that you can drop in, right? So my question was kind of like, well, who's the end client? Who is actually using Amazon location services? And it also made me think about, not only does this tie into like how Amazon is routing their packaging and all of those things that they probably sit on themselves, but
Yeah,
also all of those like third parties that tap into those location services. And there's a huge opportunity, obviously, I would assume, knowing how Amazon works, they're already doing some testing of this, but I mean, you get minute by minute updates of your Amazon package delivery here, right? So obviously the location sharing and mapping and everything that they are generating every day by driving these routes has to be like super valuable. And so I'm sure that all of these, what, 17, almost 20 APIs that they release will be super valuable, and continue to be more valuable because they're out. They're out.
absolutely. There you go. If you're a developer and you need location data or services, take a look at what Amazon's got out there if you haven't yet, because there's a lot. Okay, well, that's our show for this week. You've been listening and watching episode number 698 of Location Weekly. We, of course, thank you for your time. If you have story ideas, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you about something that maybe, we're not aware of. If we've talked about your company or your service today, please, reach out to us, give us feedback on that, or greater clarity on something maybe we've missed. And if you're a listener or viewer of the podcast on whatever platform you're consuming this, give us some likes, some love as well. We appreciate all of that. So until then, we'll see you next week with another show. But have a great one, everybody. Take care.